Well, good morning. It is April 18th. It's Saturday. It's a good morning, nice and cool outside. Came across a verse I want to share with you. It's Acts chapter 20, verse 35. The basic principle is simply it's more blessed to give than to receive. God constantly is giving to us, and He blesses us, and we receive that. And then He turns around and basically says in the Bible that He wants us to be like Him. He wants us to be givers. And in giving, we are blessed. It's more blessed to give than to receive. I find it interesting when as I live my life, that the more that I hold on to, the tighter my grip, the more challenges I have. Stress tends to make us tight, but there's something about opening your hand, there's something about giving that just somehow relaxes you. Genesis 1:1, in the beginning, God created. Go to John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. We find that the God that we serve is a giving God. By creation, by design, the Bible even says God loves a cheerful giver. I'm not going to ask you to give to any special project, but I am going to ask you to practice the principle of God that when you give, something happens, supernatural. A miracle begins to happen. I'll give you a quick example. Yesterday, someone from our church asked, "Is there anyone that needs food?" And I gave this family a name of someone living in a Motel 6. And that individual called that person in the hotel. That family, husband and wife, showed up at the hotel and brought a cooked meal. The person in the hotel received that meal, and the family, the givers, showered that person with compassion. Come to find out, that person living in Motel 6 had to be out today for whatever reasons. I don't know what that does to you, but could you do that if God asked you to do that? Would you be available to give? See, the family that did this, they're constantly giving. I know of probably 50 examples. This family just is not afraid. They're cheerful about giving. It's more blessed to give than to receive. A lot of us are holding on tight. The COVID environment, we not only isolate, but we restrict, we subtract, we pull back, we retreat, and all of that's necessary. But at the same time, God is at work. I find life very, very challenging when I'm not giving my time, giving my word, giving my assistance. I think behind that little phrase, it's more blessed to give than to receive, is because when we give, it's almost like God inspires us. I think inspiring is a God deal. Something miraculous happens whereby we sense something bigger than us, like helping a family in Motel 6. Or this past week, Ted from our church said, Roger, we have lots of homeless people in Tempe that just need water. As the temperatures start to warm up, Tempe, Mesa, homeless people are looking for water. And we made a phone call, and another family in our church has donated a pallet, not a case, a pallet, literally dozens and dozens and dozens of 1-gallon bottles of water. If it all works out, that those big 1-gallon tubs, jugs, will be delivered on Tuesday to our church by another family in our church, and we will then make them available to Ted, who has a plan for distributing 1-gallon jugs of water to homeless people, targeting Tempe, Mesa, etc. It's more blessed to give than to receive. I think that some of us struggle giving is because we think that somehow or another, if we give, it subtracts from us. We lose. But think about the word blessed. The word blessed is not negative, it's positive. In the root word blessed, it's all rooted in God blesses you. In other words, God inspires you, God adds to you. So when you bless others, God adds to you. He doesn't subtract. I'll be the first to admit that it is challenging when you don't have much in your pocket or you don't have much time to give, whether it be to a neighbor or to the church. I would encourage all of you to protect our church through giving. You can give online, you can drop something in the mail. There are just 1,000 ways to bless others. This past week, it was kind of heartbreaking when a single mom with several children emailed me and just simply said things were tight. And within 5 minutes, with no email by me or nobody knowing, another family in our church emails me and says, Roger, is there a family in our church that needs help? And I emailed back and said, yes, many. And I said, I just got an email 5 minutes earlier from a single mom with children. The mom's working full time but makes minimum wage, but things are tight. Within an hour or two, the giver in our church brought a check to our church. That check was then made available to the single mom. I don't know how God inspires this family in our church to give, or the first family, this family to give to the single mom, or the first family to give to the person at Motel 6, or how God inspires a family in our church to give gallons of jugs of water, or how God inspires Ted to do his ministry with homeless. But he does. We live constantly in this tension of, in my humanity, I don't get it. But God says, trust me. So when you give, God doesn't subtract from you. He adds. Now, the addition may not come the way you want it to come. But in my life, my wife and I, Diana, we've just through the years, we cannot outgive God. The more that we give to God, the more He pours out on us. Pressed down, filled, overflowing. I enjoy walking because when I do it early in the mornings, I get to hear the birds start, and I get to see the sun come up. And those are additions. Those are gifts. It's one way God chooses to bless us is just simply by enjoying what's going on around us. I want to encourage you as you go forward, protect yourself, yes. Make sure you're wearing the appropriate protection gear when you go into stores where you get around people, whether that be a mask or gloves. Make sure that you're moving into solitude. This Sunday, we're going to go to John chapter 6, around verse 15, 16, 17, 18, and we're going to see the courage miracle, the fear not miracle Jesus gave as he walked on the water to his disciples in the boat as they're just deathly afraid that they're going to drown to death in the storm. And here comes Jesus. The disciples think it's a ghost. They can't even recognize Jesus, but Jesus says, "Fear not, don't be afraid." He shares his courage. So as you move forward in this COVID environment, remember, Jesus is always giving, not subtracting, and we need to follow in his footsteps. It's more blessed to give than to receive. Find lots of ways to do that. Start your day in prayer. Find a way to move towards solitude, not isolation. Isolation is something that's forced on us, but solitude is a choice to be inspired by God. It's to meditate on things above us. It's more blessed to give than to receive. I got a call last night. I found out that there's someone in the professional community that doesn't attend our church. And the work environment is very aggressive, lots of demands, and this professional is being challenged. And this professional is reaching out, just simply saying, how do I keep my head above water when the expectations are insane? The challenges are difficult. And friends, listen, you're going to have to move past your humanity and look to God. God sees it all, and he's got you covered. That's a faith step. That's a faith step for this professional who doesn't attend our church, or for someone like you and me, or Ted with the homeless, or the giver at church that's donating a lot of gallons of water, or the family that went to Motel 6 with a meal. You've got to look beyond yourself. It's more blessed to give than to receive, and don't worry about the results. Trust that God's got the back. Make sure that you do it with wisdom, but do it with humility. Don't worry about somehow that people will notice it. Well, you're blessed, I'm blessed, and hope to see you tomorrow online at church. You can go to our website, fbc-tempe.org, and look for the online services, and you can view our worship services through our church website just by clicking on at the website, FBC Facebook, or you can go to Facebook and you can click on the church FBC Facebook. If you want a sermon guide, you can get a sermon guide through my prayer letter or through the online, through the website. Just look for sermon guide. Blessings on you. Have a great day.